What's up, guys? Welcome to VenGoose Gaming. I'm TFGoose here with Vendetta, and we're bringing you another tip video here today. Kind of a bunch of little tips, actually, all having to do with roads and traffic, which is kind of one of the large pain points in the game as people get into the high populations. But Vendetta's got some great footage here for you, and a treat at the end of the video where you can see a 200,000 pop city just humming right along. So Vendetta, what are we starting off here with? We're just trying to build out something from scratch here to get things going.
Yeah, I chose to do a sandbox just for the ease of the video, but going right here with the medium density avenue straight out, that's going to be your best bet because for especially starting out not in sandbox mode, it's going to be the cheapest and it can be upgraded later to support streetcars.
Right, yeah, because if you start with just standard streets, I mean, pretty sure most people know that you can't upgrade streets into avenues, unfortunately, which is one of those real bummer sorts of situations, because you can also not demolish a road without demolishing all buildings that are on it, which is a really terrible way to lose a police precinct or something.
Yeah, or a hospital or something.
Or a sci-fi casino. Oh, sorry.
Nah.
But anyway, yeah, so just doing a little bit of a basic design here to kind of show you, what's a reasonable amount of avenues to have versus regular streets.
Yeah.
I guess the idea is to really plan for the long haul. If you want a high population city, you have to plan to use streetcars and mass transit like crazy, or you'll just pull your hair out.
Exactly. I really prefer avenues over streets because for the obvious reasons, avenues can support at least from high density up 6 lanes of traffic versus only 4 with both high lane streets and medium. Those only support 4 lanes of traffic, so it can't do as much.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, it's all about that traffic flow, and especially, I mean, you really want to get as many lanes as you can, because I'm sure everybody's seen a garbage truck or something going down the street, or a bus, and that huge line of traffic forms behind them and nobody can get around them. So if you got a bunch of lanes, then those vehicles are allowed to stop, but it keeps the flow of traffic moving, which is the whole idea.
Yeah.
And
right there, I'm showing my the density and how far it extends out. Because I was using high density, it's showing you the maximum density buildings right there. But when you have anything like medium and below, it's actually going to be a little bit shorter. I believe it's 24 meters wide with lower density stuff and 48 once you get into the higher density.
Yes, that's a good point. That's important to note. The zoning tool there, always shows that little teeny extra line out past where you're zoning that shows the maximum growth of the buildings would go, but that actually changes over time based on the road that you're laying it against. That's what you're saying there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind for sure. And you also notice that when he's laying these roads here, obviously he's doing a lot with the road guides and stuff here. If you don't know this, guys, you can turn off the road guides with the Alt key, or just click the little check mark down there. That'll take care of it as well.
Yeah, I tend to like the guides personally, but I know some of you guys don't, and that's okay. Yeah, you just press Alt there. Another interesting little tidbit for you, if you use the road selector tool like I just was to upgrade roads, that'll also upgrade your bridges.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, when you're trying to take things over the waterways there and stuff, don't neglect your bridges. It's really easy to forget, especially if you're looking at stuff like streetcars and everything, or you're looking at coverage maps, for like ambulances and things like that. A lot of times the green influence doesn't highlight over the bridge for some reason, but it is still there, and you definitely still got to take care of that when you're trying to upgrade.
Yeah, so right here, I'm just starting out on a basic city. I wanted to put streetcars in right away to kind of show you guys how the mass transit system works, just for demo purposes only.
Sure, yeah, that's definitely it here. And again, this is just the sandbox city here. Later on, the city that we show at the end there was not made in sandbox, and you'll see how it can really help you getting along. But another good little tidbit to remember is the Sims do sort of react to kind of rush hour. So
absolutely,
yeah, if you have traffic on the street, it's between like 6 and 8 a.m. in the morning, it's gonna hit peak. That's when everybody's trying to go to work. Also, of course, if you're doing a tourism city and you run an event, traffic tends to go through the roof, which I learned recently myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a tourism city as well. Your key to a real successful tourism city, you have to plan your transit before you start that specialization.
Absolutely, yeah. It seems like almost no matter what you want to do in the game, mass transit is absolutely critical. If you're not planning for that from the very, very beginning, you're just signing up for just headaches beyond headaches, you know. And
Yeah, failure.
yeah, and hopefully some of this will get ironed out. As you know, I'm sure everybody knows there's a lot of issues still with the game right now as far as AI and Sims, you know, traveling the shortest distance possible, like, you know, not doing that when they're supposed to, and going to random houses and random workplaces and just screwing with the traffic system in general. So
Yeah.
this is the way that we're presenting here to sort of get around that the best that you can for right now. And then hopefully a little bit later down the line, they'll actually just sort of patch the game and make it so that you don't have to go quite as crazy with streetcars and buses and everything in order to get a functional city.
Yeah, so what I did there, one of my favorite strategies is when I lay streets, you really want to try to make sure you have as least intersection as possible. And I know that's not a good representation right there because I have tons of little intersections, but when you run an avenue through the middle of, say, your residential, you can put streetcar stops along that, and hopefully your Sims are going to use that and thus alleviate your traffic.
Exactly, yeah. Intersections are only a problem if people are driving.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
if you have a lot of mass transit options, namely streetcars, the Sims, you know, and this is again how it's supposed to work, and most of the time it seems to, even in this build, if they can use mass transit, they do. You know, they
Right.
will not drive unless they have no other choices. So you always want to make sure that they're covered. You know, again, also a really good idea, as he's showing you here, to put bus stops on both sides of the street. That does make a difference. A bus trying to pick somebody up or drop someone off when there's only one stop will have to go down the street until it can turn around and then come back. So if you have them on both
Perhaps
sides, you can avoid those U-turns.
Yeah, and I know it looks a little misleading there, guys, because you're like, well, you're putting two stops right next to each other, but yeah, that's basically the reason behind the madness, is so they don't have to do those U-turns, which actually improves your flow of bus traffic.
Exactly. That's critical. And that also, you know, preventing the U-turns there helps with other flow too. I mean, you want to make sure that all of your emergency vehicles and utility vehicles can flow as best they can, and keeping those buses from having to turn around all the time you know, just clears the way for some of those other utility vehicles and emergency guys to get around. The city's
Yeah,
busted if you have traffic. Period.
yeah, absolutely.
Period. So just something else to keep in you know, in mind there for sure.
Another favorite of mine to do is when you're placing services like fire, police, medical, what have you, try to put that on an avenue, because since it has more lanes than, say, a street, you know, by default it's going to have at least two more if you're talking upgraded. But what that allows you to do is it impacts traffic less because they're able to get out and get back in faster, theoretically, of course, unless you're gridlocked.
Right,
But
right. Now, one thing I did notice too in one of my cities is to try and avoid putting anything that's like a city service, or especially even your bus station, right up at your highway connection, because you can't, if you do get a traffic jam, it actually builds back out onto the highway, which is
yeah,
really, really bad. You know, so if you want to, you know, minimize the amount of intersection, you know, right at the front of your city there, because people are going to be coming in and going out of your city no matter what. You know, they can't use mass
yes,
transit right at the front. So,
yeah, right there. It's interesting. I actually read a tip that said you wanted to place your bus system close to the entrance of the region or your
yeah.
city, whatever, because that then when you had your commuters come in, they'll go there and park, and then they'll use your mass transit. However, at least at this current time, that doesn't appear to work too
Right.
well.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I tried that myself, and I put a park and ride right across the street from it and everything, in the hopes that people would just come in and park immediately. But it turned into a bit of a nightmare there at the front. It was just red as far as the eye could see. It was just bleeding at the front of the city. So I
Yeah, I've
had to
seen
move it, and it was just the way it is. So right now, kind of avoid that, but definitely keep it in mind for the future that it's supposed to be a good idea to put it there. It's just not at this time, or at least not for us. So. But another quick thing too, just to keep in mind on your road placement, when you're putting these streets down, you have to get all the way up to high density streets before they get stoplights. Everything before that is just stop signs. And that's a little weird because then it only lets one car through at a time, and that is another good huge bottleneck for traffic. So bear that in mind, but also if you don't really want those houses to upgrade that quickly, remember you might see off one of our other videos here, and we'll link that at the end for sure. You can use dezoning in, next to a high density street to make it so the houses don't actually upgrade any further, and pop your population up when you're not really ready for it. But you do still get the increased traffic flow, which is often a really good idea.
Yeah, kind of min-maxing there, but yeah, those are some great points.
Yeah. Are we following a streetcar here just to kind of see?
Yeah, just to see him zip around the city real quick. I mean, that's one of my favorite transportation modes in the game, personally.
Oh, definitely.
I just think they look so cool.
Yeah.
Another tip for you guys, just to point out, when you have like a train station or, passenger train or ferry, it's a good idea to put either buses or streetcars or maybe even both right next to that station. So when those guys get off, they can go immediately right into your transit system. That's going to get them around your city much faster, and that's really going to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's doubly so if you're a casino or a tourism city. If you want to cater to your low and medium wealth residents, you definitely want to put some mass transit options for buses and streetcars and stuff right there when those guys get out, the ferries and the airports and stuff, and rail. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is your high wealth tourists will not use those options. They're snubby and they don't want to be bothered with it or something. I don't know.
They're snooty. They only like airplanes.
That's the way it is. Yep, they come in on planes. They'll come in on the cruise ship as well. But when they get in town, they're going to take a taxi or a limo to places. So a lot of times it's a good idea, if you want to minimize your traffic, to put those big ticket items, high wealth tourist attractions and high wealth casinos, put those near your ferry station and your other like plane and rail stuff and everything, just because those are where they're going to come in, and you might as well just give them a short walk to keep the taxis and the limos off the street, and again, improve your traffic flow. It's what it's all about.
So here we can see we switched over to Black Gold the Revenge, my primo city. It's electronic trade. I have currently 124,000 people using my streetcar system. This is not sandbox, guys. This is legit. You may have seen this used in our other videos. This is really my premier city, so it's good for a lot of recording, as it were.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, rocking a population of just 224,000 Sims down there, 100 million simoleons and counting. Pay no attention to the red figure right next to it, guys. Again, this is a trade city. It functions completely off of selling TVs and computers and stuff and all the electronic specialization, and he's pulling down, I don't know what, about 5 million, per
actually it's closer to 8 or 10
yeah,
million.
I mean, it's every time the specializations roll out, I mean, he's pulling down serious bank, per game month here. So no issue at all with losing, 100,000 an hour or whatever it's worried about there. He's pulling out millions a day, so who cares?
Yeah, you guys can see all these little Sims. They're going around here. They're using the transit. Look, 9,500 people are using that a day. That's amazing.
That stop right there, getting 9,600 people.
That's one stop.
Right, so I mean, and you can see here too, I mean, he's going to flip around some more to, roads and stuff, and you'll just see that the traffic is not really an issue. I mean, of course, you have a couple spots here and there that go yellow or whatever, but that's nothing compared to what it would be in a 200,000 plus population city if you did not have an intricate mass transit system in place, built from the ground up, and preparing for this all the way. And that's how you can get a city with this crazy population, which seems to be a goal for some folks. I know that I don't know, personally, I just kind of dig the, a functional city. But, so here's a little bit of an issue right there at the front, but that's always going to be a bit of an issue, again, with the bus terminal right there right now.
Yeah, that was bad placement on my part, and as you can see what we were talking about earlier, you can see traffic back up on the highway because that intersection, again, you don't want to put an intersection
right there at the front.
If you can help it. Yeah,
exactly. But everywhere else, you got green and just barely some yellow around because, look at those streets. Yeah, it's just very few cars, and, you got buses and streetcars everywhere. And there's a quick snapshot there, of the money at the end there too. So just to give you a little bit of an idea. But yeah, that's basically what we wanted to show you guys, is give you a little, preview of what it's like to build up a really big population city and still have not any problems with the traffic. So hopefully you learned something there. There's a couple other links down here if you missed them before. If you want to build a million simoleons powerhouse mega city like Vendetta there, then definitely check out the Make Millions video here. Also, another tip video we have there that's got some good information in it there. Show it some love. It's 5 minutes of your life well spent with controlling population and sharing city service vehicles. So, all right, guys, we'll keep your eyes peeled here. Toss us a like if you liked the video and subscribe, and we definitely got more to come. Take it easy.